Hey, what's up everyone? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we are looking at the Play Arts Kai DC variant Aquaman. And you guys may or may not know this about me, but I am not an Aquaman fan, so anything that I say positive about this figure you know is coming from a place of complete lack of bias. And anything that I say negative, you can count on me being completely biased. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to be biased. I don't care what kind of character I'm reviewing. I'm just going to review the figure. So let's just go ahead and dig in, as it were. He stands just about 10.5 inches tall, so pretty much in scale with the rest of the variant figures. They're all a little bit taller than your standard Play Arts Kai, though I guess they're all going to be taller from this point going forward, or at least mostly. So that's good. He's a big figure, so you're getting more for your money since he costs the same as the rest of the figures. He's only around $100 depending on where you buy from. So that's pretty good. And I have to say, he's got really good proportions. His arms don't look too small, his chest doesn't look too big, his hips aren't too wide, his legs aren't too long. He looks pretty good. I like the proportions a lot. I like the design a lot. They have the orange kind of mixed in with the gold. You can see the orange on the shoulders and the chest and going down into the torso there. Then we have the gold coming through with this scaling type of design. Looks pretty good. I like the scaling because it's reminiscent of Aquaman's classic look, and then of course we have the orange and green, which is also his classic look, so that's very good. Now for the green, they have a couple different shades, which is good, kind of a more neon green mixed with a darker kind of emerald green, and everything on him is metallic, so it just looks awesome. This gold here is a little bit different than the rest of the yellow, so it gives it a nice contrast for the belt. Very good. The only thing I wish is that this was a little less seamless. There's kind of a big obvious seam right there because this is darker than down here. It's obviously not a big deal, but it is something to note. We have some nice silver detailing all the way throughout chest area. I guess it's not throughout, it's only on the chest and shoulders. That's okay, it doesn't really matter. It would have been cool to see some more silver peeking through, I think. But that's alright, it still looks nice where it is. And then his head is done really well. He's got golden hair though, so that's a little strange to me. I'm thinking it should have just been blonde. I know they like to give him a little emphasis with the metallics sometimes to make the hair look shiny, like it would be in real life. But I think he's used a little bit too much of the Vidal Sassoon. He's a little bit too shiny, but it still looks good, so I'll let it slide. I think it looks pretty good, and I like the hair sculpt and the face sculpt. I think it's a nice look for Aquaman. He's got that kind of, what should I say? Not the old look. I don't like that old look where he starts to have like the beard and that kind of thing. He's got that very young, kind of brash look to him. So I like that. I think that's pretty good. He does come with the standard Square Enix Play Arts Kai clear base thingy. This thing right here. Not going to talk about that too much. You guys should be familiar at this point, and if you're not, it's a nice bonus. It's not the best stage ever, but it's pretty good. Let's put it this way so you can actually see. You just snap it all together, put some screws in it, and then you have a nice display stage. It's nice, but I don't use them, so I imagine most people probably don't either. Okay, accessory-wise, he comes with his trident, which is done really well, and it's made out of a really nice plastic, and it's painted very nicely. There's lots of shading throughout. We have dark and then yellow, dark kind of a golden color, then the yellow golden, then almost even a whitish color, so that's nice. We have the nice coppery orange in there. The only problem is mine was not pushed all the way together before it got glued, so I think I'm gonna have to break that in order to fix it, so I don't know what I'm gonna do about that. It's a little disappointing, but it's a very nice accessory nonetheless. It's almost 12 inches long too, so pretty good size. We have a few water effects. We have this one right here, which is meant to go around his foot. So if he's standing on the ground, you just put that on his foot and it'll sit flat on the ground there. And then you've got just kind of that little water effect, which is pretty cool, and it's nice and translucent. Not quite as blue as some of the other ones. It's a little less tinted, but it still looks really nice, and I love the sculpt work, so that's pretty cool. Then we have this one that goes over his forearm. This one has a little bit more of the blue look to it. And how this works, I haven't done this yet, so we're going to see if I can do it on my first try. It's pretty exciting, I know. So that should go on like that, I think, and then this hand, let's get that peg where we want it to be. And then this hand is going to go back on the peg. That's what the directions showed. I don't know if that's going to work. That looks weird. That definitely looks weird. Let's see what this shows. That doesn't really help, does it? Not a whole lot. Yeah, it's gonna have to go like that. So maybe if you put his hand more of an uppercut type of pose, I guess it's supposed to look like that. I don't really care for that. Seems poorly implemented or designed. Yeah, I don't really see a good way of doing that. So if anybody has a better understanding of that accessory, do tell in the comments. I would appreciate that. Otherwise, it's not the best accessory as far as I can tell. And then the other one we have, let's put this hand back on. We have two more water effects actually. We have one that looks like, alright, come on hand. We have one that looks like this, which is really cool. It's got a big water effect coming off of it, and it's the whole hand piece. So you're just going to swap that on, and we won't have any of the issues that that one we just set aside had, because it's already put together. So his hands are really stiff, so be careful. So now we've got a water effect hand that works really well. Not sure I'm a huge fan of that pose of the hand. It would have been cool to have like a fist hand with that, but it still looks pretty good. So that's a nice water accessory. And then we have one more. They're all on the left hand apparently, except for that removable one. So that's something worth noting. Come on. Very stiff hand pegs. And then this one is just a hand with a little bit of water on it. Very cool looking. I like this one a lot. So this one is probably going to be the one I'm going to use, and that one went right on. And this is just kind of a little effect piece to make him look awesome, which it does. It's very well executed. I like that. And then lastly, we have some other hands. So you've seen all of the watery hands. You've seen the two fist hands that are on him, or that was on him, and then here's the other one. Very nicely done. Then we have two hands for holding the staff. Plastic's a little stiff on these, so you're going to want to hit them with the hair dryer or some hot water to get them around that staff. But once you do that, it's a really high quality plastic, so they should loosen up right away, and you won't have to worry about scratching it or breaking it. So that's good. And then lastly, we have two of these, the same hand as this one pretty much. So I'm not a huge fan of that kind of ballet. I don't know if it's a ballet hand or not, but it looks a little feminine. So I wish it was a little more masculine, but it's still done really well. Look at the texturing in there. Really nicely sculpted, nicely painted. Very nice accessory. So if it was a little more masculine, I'd be quite happy, but still looks really good. The face is definitely not feminine, kind of like the Arkham Origins Robin. That was pretty feminine. Some of the comments you guys made about that in the comment section were kind of funny. Alright, so let's talk about articulation. We've already talked about the paint and how good it is, and the accessories and how good they are. So the articulation is going to be pretty important. The head, standard double ball peg on top of the neck. It does come down pretty far, so you're not going to get the greatest range of motion out of the head itself, but you will get enough. He's not going to look up and down very well. You can look down with the neck joint, but not with the head joint. So it's essentially just a swivel with a little bit of a side-to-side rock, but that's okay. I would much rather have it look good with decent articulation than have really good articulation and have a big gap in there, so that's good. Neck, same thing, it's a double ball peg, so that's going to move around, but essentially you're just going to get the forward and back, and then you can kind of twist it to help with the posing. But going side to side, you just don't have that much room, so it's going to be pretty limited. I think that's alright though, and it's a really nice sculpt. I love the way they did that neck armor, looks great. For the shoulder, let's do it on this side. We have kind of the newer, not quite the same as the Arkham Origins figures, but kind of the new design for the butterfly joint, where it's more of a swivelly joint. It doesn't really work quite the same as before, and because of that, it doesn't provide quite the same range of motion. We can't quite get the arm very far around there either, so it's a little disappointing, but it's still not bad, and we still have the ball hinge on top of that, so you can move the arm around however you want. You can see the ball hinge very easily right there. Nicely sculpted. The shoulder pad is connected to the bicep, so that can spin around however you want it to. So that's pretty good. Get pretty good range of motion out of the shoulders. Not the best, but I suspect you can get, if you try a little bit and make sure to not break anything, you can get the arm a little bit higher than that. And even there, that's pretty good. For the elbow, we have the standard ball hinge, so it'll swivel at the top and the bottom, and it's ratcheted. The yellow is a little bit off. The color is not quite right, but I think it's probably good enough. I'm alright with it. It's not that noticeable once you get imposed. And then for the wrists, we have the standard wrist hinge, which means it swivels at the bottom and at the top and is ratcheted. For the torso, we have a double ball peg, which really gives him a pretty good range of motion compared to some of the other ones. He doesn't come too far forward, but he goes really far back, and he goes side to side really well. So that's pretty nice. And then we have the swivel up here. Not the greatest swivel, but it is there. And then down here we have all of the rest of our articulation, which is just a single ball peg going up into the abdomen. So this one's a little bit stiff, but it does have tons of range of motion. You can see inside there, hopefully now, how that ball peg works. So really you can just spin that around however you want. This is a floating piece for the belt crotch area, so that shouldn't get in the way too much. And then the hips, standard Play Arts Kai hips. So they're ratcheted side to side, ratcheted front to back. You can get really good range of motion out of them. They did a good job with this guy. Mostly because the torso piece has a big notch cut out of it, which works well because the belt hides it and it doesn't hit the tops of the thighs. So they did a really good job with that. And then we do have the thigh swivel around that joint. Double jointed knees. Some of the best knees I've seen on a Play Arts Kai figure. Very seamless. It's because they pushed this joint forward in the thigh so we don't have that big gap, and it's a lot shorter this way. So they did a very good job with the knees. I'm really happy with that. The feet, they're similar to Superman in that they have this soft rubber guard up here and they're kind of high heel shaped. Not my favorite design, but it's better because the guard is actually connected to the foot this time, so it's not going to get in the way and it'll help with posing. So that's good, and it's nice and soft. We have this toe hinge which only goes down. I guess it makes more sense for Aquaman than Superman, but I still don't care for it very much. It's not very useful. And then we have no ankle rocker other than the ball hinge that's in there, and it's going to be really hard to spin that around sideways due to the sculpt. So it's going to be a little tricky to get the ankles posed the way you want to, but you should be able to do it with a little bit of effort, so I can't really complain too much about that. So that pretty much does it for this figure, guys. It's easily one of the best Play Arts figures I've gotten in quite a while. Very impressed with it, and like I said, I'm not an Aquaman fan, so I'm not just saying that because I want Aquaman to have a good figure. I'm saying it because it's a darn good figure. So I'll post some photos at the end of the video here so you can see it in action, and that will wrap it up. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see my upcoming figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. And in the meantime, keep collecting.